Hey everybody, meteorologist Liz McGiffin here, and today we're going to be talking about chemical reactions. So a few things that you probably already have at home. You can start with a container to put this in. So you want to think about maybe a clear container. If you want to do this on a larger scale, grab maybe that glass casserole dish, or if everyone wants their own individual thing, grab maybe one of those little plastic cups or bowls. Even a glass one will work just fine as well. You want to make sure you can see through it though, so you can get an idea of everything that's going on. Alongside with that, make sure that you have baking soda. This is going to be acting as our base for the experiment. And another thing to have on hand is going to be distilled white vinegar. This is going to be our acid for the experiment. And to make it a little more fun, maybe grab some food coloring as well. Use any color combination that you have around or want to join in with. And another important thing to have, which I'm literally using one of the things that you'd give kids medicine from, grab some sort of eyedropper or syringe. Now that everything's out, it's the fun part. We get to actually start getting the experiment going. Take your baking soda and start to put it in your cup, whatever you're choosing to use. We'll start with one of the individual smaller size ones. You don't have to be too precise. I went ahead and just filled it maybe about halfway. And then take your syringe, put it into the vinegar, and then you want to make sure that it's filled up. It doesn't have to be filled all the way up. The big thing is that you're going to be able to eventually drop your acid in the syringe into the base. Now, just kind of for fun, you can grab the food coloring. Let's make it tie-dye. Let's add a couple drops of each of these in there. So here's a little green in there. For fun, let's add a little bit of yellow too. And again, you can use any color combination you want, and really don't have to add the color. I just think the rainbow effect makes it a little bit more fun. And even if you want to, you can take a toothpick, maybe stir it around a little bit too. Okay, in this case, we're probably just adding a few more globs in there. So, now the fun part. Now what you do, take your syringe, which remember is full of the vinegar, and then we're going to add it into our base, the acid. And watch what it does. Notice the fizz that's happening? Kind of fun too in this clear container, because you can watch all of this from the side. So what's going on with this and why you get all of that fizz, it's a chemical reaction, or a reaction when you get one or two things, which in our case is the vinegar and the baking soda, and then you get something completely different. What you end up with, basically, is just salt water and carbon dioxide gas. Now, while you can do that on a smaller version, it might be more fun to do it on a large scale, and of course, more fun when you add color. What I did here a little earlier was I mixed up some food coloring with our baking soda. So literally just took a few drops of the food coloring, added it to the baking soda, took a toothpick, and then stirred it all up. So it may not be perfect, but it's at least going to fill up the pan with a little bit more color. We'll add 3 colors. Have a little bit of blue in there, a little bit of yellow. Oops, probably should put the green in the middle. And then we'll add a 3rd color too. We'll add in a little bit of green. And this might just give us a little bit more color for what's going on. Of course, you can still do this with just the regular white baking soda. Or maybe even take a few drops of color and add it in there as well. It won't give you the widespread color effect, but it'll at least give you a few little dots of color and give it more of that tie-dye effect once you get the bubbles going. And now the fun part. Remember how we talked about earlier that what we're doing is a chemical reaction? Well, the big thing that we start off is, let's take a minute to talk about that. We have 2 separate things. We have our baking soda, which in this point, now it's colored. Still doesn't change the properties of it though. We still have the baking soda, and then went ahead and put the vinegar into a cup so we could get out of the syringe a little faster. When you add that, that's where you start to get the reaction. The reaction that we're talking about when you start to add the vinegar in here is going to be linked to the combination of 2 things. Your acid and your base all combining together to give us those bubbles. So the bubbles that you're looking at is the combination of what's left behind. So the new elements that we're creating are sodium acetate, some CO2 gas, carbon dioxide, and H2O. We'll start with the carbon dioxide gas. Those are the bubbles. They're not dangerous, and they're exactly what you'd see in a carbonated drink like a pop or a soda. What you're left behind with, though, once this all settles down, basically salt water.